Hey, what is going on, everyone? Today I want to do a America Chavez video. For those of you who are not going in on the Young Avengers, I want to make one particular suggestion for a set of characters to use with her passive that is still crazy strong, and especially if you're not building up her wider team, then you can make use of this, still pretty easily with the Eternals. And I know that not everyone wants to stick them on war defense, especially your Eternals. They are a super powerful team regardless of where you want to use them, but it's an absolutely great way to bait larger teams such as Weapon X or Infinity Watch to kill them. And I want to give people more options of what you can do with such a minimal investment on America Chavez. Now, I know that some people might think I'm a bit late to this party, and I have discussed this once already in the past, but I wanted to be a little bit more clear about what I'm suggesting and why. So that's what this video is all about, and without further ado, let's get this show started. Okay, and so for those of you who are unfamiliar with America Chavez right now and why a lot of people are talking about her, it's because of her passive. Now, I want to say straight up, I'm not using this version, and I was using this prior to the release, or in this case, me unlocking Kate Bishop and Echo. But for those of you who are not going in on the Young Avengers, and I know a lot of people who are not because they are a war defense team, this is something that you should still consider. So I want to talk about America Chavez's passive here again in more detail. So all that stuff aside, it's in the war defense text that's the most important. So on spawn, fill speed bar by 25% for adjacent allies. Now, in this regard, a lot of people are using them in combination with the Eternals because this pushes them up so far past existing speed benders, it's not even funny. So speed bar by 25% is quite considerable for these two characters, where things like the old Emma and Loki and Cable are actually not even able to compete with the 25% speed bar here. So really interesting. Also, the reduced enemy drain by 100%. I mean, likely if you draw in an Infinity Watch to beat this combo that I'm suggesting, it's not going to matter anyways, and the Infinity Watch is still probably going to kill them. However, that this is quite interesting regardless. This is more designed for her within her team, although it's kind of interesting that it can block it even outside of it. And then, of course, this is not really relevant to what I'm suggesting because of the Young Avengers requirement here. So now that we have that out of the way and why that speed bar, and I want to say, it's not just for the Eternals, but what if down the line in the future we have a set of characters that are just so mind-blowingly powerful, like the Eternals, but that you would be able to push their speed bar by 25% as well. Speed bar and speed mechanics is just such a future-proofed kind of thing because it can be used with anyone. In this case, it's adjacent. You can have up to 2 characters benefiting from this. So not even just the Eternals now, but I could see this being worthwhile down the line. I know it's war specific, but it's a very low investment bar in order to get there. So if you don't have America Chavez leveled, and basically all you need to do is get her to level 65. I'm pretty sure it's 65, maybe 60. I think it's 65 for the T4 and the passive, and that's really all you need to do. Unfortunately, though, my head's in the way a little bit, so if you scroll up, level 5 does suggest on war defense, on spawn, fill speed bar by 25% for adjacent allies. So you do need to get the T4 for that. But you don't really have to put any gear in there at all. If you don't want to, you could literally just take her to level 65, get the T4 for that, and that's all you need. Because I don't think the abilities are tied to gear tier. So you just need the raw levels, and then you could just stick that in. She'll die, of course, but she'll still serve the purpose that she's meant to do in this instance. So why is that important? Well, you need to stick her next to Icarus and Cersei. We know how powerful that these characters are, and they're going to blow people out of the water. They're going to walk in, they're going to take the ult if they're not prepared. And, I would say this is more aimed towards earlier and mid-tier alliances. This is not a strategy that's probably going to work very well against, end-game alliances. Frankly, I don't expect that my viewer base is really like top-end whale Kraken alliances anyways, but this is probably not something that's going to fool them. However, it is something that could fool the average player, because the average player should not really pay too much attention to war anyways. I also want to point out one little funny aspect about this is that if you were to put a little tiny America Chavez into your war defense, it's actually hard to tell whether or not the T4 is actually there or not. So A lot of people are talking about the House of Mirrors when it comes to America Chavez because we can't see character abilities. So some characters may not even have level 5 on the passive. They just might be doing it to make people think that there is, and therefore baiting out an Infinity Watch or a Weapon X, or insert, you know, mega epic meta tunes here, you know, and so that might happen. But what I'm suggesting to go alongside this trio here sounds a bit nuts, and I know a lot of people are probably going to say that I'm nuts, but here's the reason. So Thanos and Ebony Maw, these are the other two characters that I have suggested and that I am suggesting that you use. Now, people are at first glance are going to be like, Boilon, you're breaking up Black Order. Why would you do this? Well, there's two reasons, and why I'm aiming this more towards early and mid-game players, earlier in and mid-game players, maybe late mid-game players, whatever definition you want to insert here, probably not veteran players, is that Ebony Maw and Thanos are characters that you could build standalone, but most of the other Black Order members are not. Typically, players coming up the way now, I would recommend to avoid the majority of the Black Order, like Proxima, like Corvus, like Obsidian. I don't think that they're really worth building at this juncture because their time is kind of past. They are a solid, you know, war offense team. They can clear, they're probably comfortably in the top, I don't even know, top 10 at least, right? Like, are they top 5? I'm not even sure. I don't pay that much attention to war in terms of, like, who's the best. I don't know. If they're in war, top 5, they're probably number 5. My point is that if you're going to be gearing up anyone, it's probably going to be Ebony Maw and Thanos. Now, once again, you don't need to, just like America Chavez, you don't actually need to take them up to any significant margin. I'm not saying gear tier 14, Ebony Maw or Thanos. I'm also not saying necessarily to break apart your Black Order if you have one built existingly, but there's two reasons why. Now, the big one here is Thanos' passive. Now, this here, on death of an oh yeah, my head's in the way again. So we can see it here. On death of an enemy, generate 2 ability energy for self or adjacent cosmic allies. So how I'm basically suggesting is that you want to place Thanos on the very far end of the map next to Icarus, with Chavez in the center and Icarus and Cersei next to her. And this way that whenever that Icarus kills somebody, that is funneling ability energy into Icarus. Now, you do need the T4s into Thanos to do this. Some people may or may not already have this from previous usage of Thanos, so that could be easy for you already. But this is very, very helpful. Now, having Ebony Maw on the field will also allow you, for Thanos to go first, potentially, or at least a little bit ahead of other people. So having him with this passive here, on spawn, gain 2 regeneration, 2 death proof, and immunity for 2 turns, plus fill ally Thanos speed bar by 25% per Black Order. Now, I'm pretty sure this does count himself, so this will also give a 25% speed bar boost to Thanos. Now, it won't be as crazy as it normally is within the full team, but then Thanos takes the stone, and then he gets all of this stuff as well, right? So he gets the regen, the death proof, and the immunity, so that's quite helpful too. Now, this is going to vary depending on whether or not that you have Thanos built to any significant degree. This might not even matter if he's kind of low end. The other part of this is this. On death of an enemy hero controller, gain charged, apply immunity to all allies and barrier all this. So Ebony Maw will get the charges if they walk into a fight like this and any of the characters that exist that they're trying to use have hero controllers on the field. They may do so accidentally. They may do so thinking that they're going to blow the ability charges, the energy on the characters from Icarus, you know, going in with a suicide match. That happened to me in the past, you know, and people are still doing this on accident. This happens very frequently in sort of more average alliances where they think they're being funny and that they're just going to clear the boosts and then they're going in to clear the ultimate from Icarus. But then depending on how many characters you go in with, and I know what the follow-up is going to be, okay, you just go in with one character and then that's that. And that's possible too. But, you know, I'm just saying that this is an easy way. A lot of people don't think about this, and especially when it comes to war. I think a lot of people do actually forget a lot of things, and especially when it comes to character kits, and they don't really consider that when they're walking into that. Now, like I said, this is not likely to fool endgame alliances, but it very likely will for your average player, or for your, you know, for your early player. So the other reason for Ebony Maw 2 is that because when he gets charged, did I pass through that a little bit? So if charged on enemy turn, apply ability block to hero controllers and then lose the charge. So the charge does carry over from match to match, so this is also possible that this could wind up, you know, surprising some people that they go up against as well. Now, the cooldown for Icarus's ult is a little bit on the higher end. It's not super high, but it's 5. So hypothetically, if Icarus killed somebody, then, or even just one person, then you could get up to 2 ability energy funneled into Icarus for the next time it comes around. Now, if it's not more than like 3 characters that he's killing, it's unlikely to give a full charge, but I think that a lot of times people just don't even consider it, and they just go like, they throw in a bunch of characters that they use like a save squad team to go in as a suicide. So I have had matches, both on this account and on my baby account, where this has actually happened, believe it or not. And so the best part about it is, if you haven't touched any of these previous characters, Thanos, Ebony Maw, America Chavez, you don't actually need to raise them to any significant degree. You just needed to take them to like 65 in the case of Thanos and America Chavez to put the T4s and the passives. That's about it. Ebony Maw is really up to you, how, you know, what kind of investment level you want to put into them, and depends on how much you've already done at this point. So Chavez, Eternals, Thanos, Ebony Maw. Yeah, not for everyone. I admit, this is not a team for everyone. I'm going to get some people messaging in the comments down below saying how, you know, I'm suggesting something absolutely terrible. But if you're not using the Young Avengers as a full team, unlike myself, then I think that there's absolutely still ways that you can use America Chavez. And, you know, if you don't want to use it with the Eternals, you don't have to. But for me, I think that this is a great way to bait out higher level teams, Weapon X and Infinity Watch specifically. But we don't know how this is going to also change down the line. So, yeah, there's a lot of potential for America Chavez as a weird speed boosting mechanic demon here on Ward defense. And this is what I wanted to bring to you all. So that's the end of the video. And of course, until next time, stay safe and healthy and sane. And I will see you all later. Boilon signing out.